Chapter 11, Mishnah 9. The Mishnah discusses whether two collections of thread are considered one unit, such that when they are attached by a single thread and a nega appears on one of them, both become tame. If someone is rolling thread from one ball of yarn to another, or from one spool of yarn to another, or from the upper beam of a loom to the lower beam, or similarly, if there are two sides parts of a shirt that are connected by a thread, and a nega appears on the thread of one of the balls, spools, beams, or shirt sides, the thread of the other ball, spool, beam, or shirt side is tahor. In all four cases mentioned, only the part of the thread or garment on which the nega appeared is tame, while the other part is considered a separate entity and remains tahor. The Mishnah now discusses cases where a nega that appears on certain threads combines with a nega that appears on others to make up the minimum measure of a nega that can become tame, namely a gris. If a nega appeared on the sole of the weave, i.e. on a weft thread that was inserted between the warp threads but was not yet pressed back to join the cloth, or on the standing warp, i.e. warp that was strung between the upper and lower beam and stands ready for weaving, they become tame with Negaim immediately, i.e. as long as the weft thread has not yet been pressed into place with the already woven cloth, it is treated as one unit with the warp threads, and a nega that appears on it combines with a nega that appears on them to make up the minimum measure of a nega that can become tame, namely a gris. Additionally, although the warp threads standing between the rollers are not initially pressed close together, and each thread by itself does not possess the width of a gris, nevertheless, they are considered as one unit, and a nega that appears on one of them combines with a nega that appears on the others to make up the gris measure. Rabbi Shimon, however, says only if the warp was close together does it become tame, i.e. the threads on the standing warp are viewed as one unit only when they are right next to one another.